And I like the return here of Esper Dragons in Costa's hand. This was a deck that was pushed off the map for a little while because the matchup against Abzan was tenuous enough as it was. And then when Languish got printed and was in all these main decks, your big payout Dragon Lord Ojutai is no longer very good. But Languish has really gone down in popularity recently. Hangerback Walker has a lot to do with that, and just it not killing every single threat has a lot to do with that as well. And if Languishes aren't hanging around and you're looking at these 5-mana sweepers or maybe no sweepers at all hanging out people's decks, Dragon Lord Ojutai can become very good.
Round number 2 underway here. Rocco with a Forest, a Temple of Silence, and a Fleecebane Lion. For Costa, he started off with a Dismal Backwater. That's why he's at 21, and we'll see what his second turn does bring. Now, one thing to keep in mind about Rocco's deck list is actually he doesn't have any copies of Hangerback Walker in his deck. So a card like Languish is going to be very good against Craig.
And I'm looking here in the list. There are 2 main deck copies here for Costa.
Fleecebane Lion bites the dust thanks to a Bio Blight.
And remember, Languish, when that got printed, a lot of people, myself included, thought that was going to be the end of Abzan aggro. Now, everyone underestimated Hangerback Walker, and that allows this deck to hang through that kind of sweeper. But if Craig doesn't have any copies in his list, Languish is going to be really, really good against him.
Here is Anafenza the Foremost for Craig Rocco. Pluto Delta and just a passing of the turn by Costa. Let's see what Rocco can put together on this turn. He'll start with a Forest. As far as creatures concerned here in Craig's deck, he's got 4 Ward of the first tree, 4 Fleecebane Lion, 3 the Rakshasa Death Dealer, 2 Herald of Torment, 4 Anafenza the Foremost, and then 4 copies of the Mighty Siege Rhino. He's also found some room to sneak in some Gather Courages here, which I always love.
It's been popular.
Yeah.
Not doing the Mana Gorger Hydra thing.
Nope. No, that card was impressive when we saw it at the Season 3 Invitational.
Really good with Gather Courage.
It is very
That's
good.
how you build a deck.
Rakshasa Death Dealer here from Rocco. We'll see if Costa has an answer to this. Looks like he does not, so that's going to resolve. Costa will sacrifice his blue to Delta. See what land Matt wants to dig out. He'll go with a basic island.
I think Costa, with a variety of removal spells in his hand, just wants to make sure he's using his mana efficiently, not allowing Rocco to sneak through any large threat he can't beat, particularly Planeswalkers, something Costa has to be very mindful of.
Just copy Hero's Downfall. That'll take care of Anafenza. Costa down to 14. Take a draw. There's a Temple of Deceit. Top card looks like it's going to stay on top. And we're going to head back Rocco's way. The big question here is, does Matt have kind of the 1-2 punch with his deck? You know, a card like Foul-Tongue Invocation with a dragon in hand, Salumgar Scorn with a dragon in hand, stuff like that.
I think Costa has all that set up. He's just willing to take some hits here to make sure that Rocco doesn't slip anything through the cracks.
Death Dealer going to come across, looks like just for 2. Temple of Silence is the follow-up. That top card looks like it's going to stay on top. And now there is Foul-Tongue Invocation with a dragon reveal in Salumgar, the Drifting Death. Goodbye, Death Dealer. Matt Costa will gain 4 life. Back to Costa, we're going to go.
And you can tell Costa lists with 3 main deck copies of Bio Blight, 2 main deck copies of Languish, 2 main deck copies of Salumgar, the Drifting Death. These are cards we've seen before in Esper Dragons, but they seem especially important now because they're all good against Hangerback Walker.
Yep. Salumgar especially.
Yes.
Costa will scry here with Temple of Deceit. And for what it's worth, you can't come into a tournament nowadays, especially in this standard format, without answers for Hangerback Walker. You're going to play against that card 6, 7, 8 times if you're making a deep run.
And the way that the control decks work now in standard and have worked for a little while now, the answers are all out there for the different threats. You just need to have the right answers for the right threat cards. That's been the problem with Esper Dragons for a while, but because of Hangerback Walker, the metagame is narrowing down a little bit. There's some threats that are very, very good at fighting Hangerback Walker, and some that aren't. And anytime the metagame shrinks a little bit, decks like Esper get a lot better because you can tune your answer cards to the specific threats you're going to be playing against.
Here's a Fleecebane Lion.
For example, do you want Ultimate Price or Bio Blight? There was various points in the metagame where you wanted one and not the other in certain matchups, but it was a different answer in a different matchup. Now, we're very much in a Bio Blight metagame and not in an Ultimate Price metagame, and you see the list that Costa's playing here, 3 Bio Blights, no Ultimate Prices. So in a weird way, Hangerback Walker works in the favor of a deck like Esper Dragons because you really get to be precise with the cards you're playing in your main deck.
Costa going to play a dig through time here. You know, with the addition of Languish to the metagame, Fleece main line certainly got a lot worse. At least people certainly felt that way. You have to imagine for Craig in this matchup, it is not going to be a great threat. Languish can take care of it. Foul Tongue Invocation can too. And of course, Salumgar can kind of brick wall it. So not a great card in the matchup for Craig.
Bioblight as well.
Yep. A lot of answers. Languish is what Costa has picked up here. One thing that Matt doesn't have is a land to play, but that means his hand is all spells.
And Costa can be extremely patient here. Doesn't have to make any sort of move. Can use his life total as a resource. Very hard for Rocco to sneak something relevant through at this point because Costa has very good catch-all answers for essentially any spell at this point.
Land more waste. We're going to see Costa probably play a Foul Tongue Invocation here. He'll reveal that Salumgar again. Going to take care of Fleece main line. Get himself 4 life as well.
For those of you watching at home who have not watched that many control decks in action, when your opponent says, I'll take the hit from your creature, I'll use my edict at the end of your turn and kill your 1 creature, that's bad news. Because that means they are leaving all their mana up to answer anything you could possibly play. They can just afford to take the hit, it doesn't even matter.
Rocco flooding out a little bit here. He's drawn 7 lands thus far in his Abzan aggro deck. Though for what it's worth, they do play 26. There's the 8th one in Sansep Citadel. Costa picked up a copy of Dig Through Time. The only thing that he's missing right now are lands. His hand is loaded up.
Yeah, this Abzan aggro deck feels to me like the top of the list of decks that could use a creature land.
A painful thought seize here for Matt. Actually, not that painful because there is an Orborg on the other side of the battlefield. Gather Courage will bite the dust, Windswept Heath in hand. So Costa working with very good information here. The only thing he doesn't know is what is on top of Craig Rocco's deck.
But I imagine it's the worst case scenario is it's a spell that can be countered or killed.
Correct.
So Costa's in really good shape.
I'm inclined to agree with you. That's a Windswept Heath. There is a Warden of the first tree.
A little late to the party.
Warden's never late, baby. You got a bunch of mana, you're good. Slumgar Scorn, well, I'll take care of that. Costa gonna untap and take a draw here. If he finds a 6th land, I think we'll see Slumgar come down here. But Dragonlord Ochitai was the draw, and it might be a clear time to cast that one. See how Costa wants to play it.
Yeah, Costa again in the position where he can basically play around Rocco's deck being stacked almost.
Yeah.
Like, what's the perfect string of cards? Is it 100% safe to tap out for Dragonlord Ochitai?
Oh, he's going to go for it. He'll have to take 1 to cast it, thanks to the Caves of Koilos. But Dragonlord Ochitai is here, and it seems like it's been a long time since we've seen that one. Rocco will draw. He's empty-handed.
The best realistic draw that Rocco has is Ajani, Mentor of Heroes, probably, and that's trivial for Costa to answer. So even though it's probably not 100% safe to tap out for Ochitai, it's above 99%. You might as well get it going.
The hit takes place from the Dragonlord Ochitai, so now Costa gets to take a look at the top 3 cards and take 1 with him. The rest go to the bottom. And he is pulling very, very far ahead here. You have to remember, when Esper Dragons really hit the scene, this was a deck that people felt like nobody could beat, really.
Yeah, I believe it was the RPTQ results where people were talking about this just being by far the best deck in Standard.
And we saw it at the Open Series in Cleveland, too. Now, that one was run by Ross Merriam when he was playing Bant Heroic, but Gerard Fabiano is who he beat in the top 4, and Gerard destroyed that tournament with Esper Dragons.
Yeah.
Made it look very easy. Dig through time here from Costa. Take a look at the top 7, take 2 with him as if he needs any more cards.
I think the major issues for Esper Dragons there for a little while was one, Languish made Dragonlord Ochitai a little bit worse. And the other was Mono Red was all over the place, especially at the Pro Tour. And that's not a matchup Esper Dragons is thrilled to play. It's not the end of the world for Esper Dragons, but it's not something you want to be playing against every single round. But there's a lot less Mono Red now than there was at the Pro Tour recently. And Languish has certainly receded relative to what was going on when Magic Origins first came out.
Costa with what feels like an unfair amount of cards in hand.
He's discarding a hand size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't need this Languish in this matchup where Languish is at its best.
Yep.
Oh.
Things are looking a little rough for Craig.
To say the least.
You can assume Costa's hand's pretty good based on the Dragon Lord Ochitai hits and the discarding of the best card in the matchup and all this. So, gonna take some really good draws.
Craig with a lot of lands on the battlefield, 2 cards in hand.
Living Death would be a good starting point, I think.
He's going to try a Murderous Cut. See if Costa has an answer for that. Looks like he doesn't.
He's got a Haven in his hand, so, you know, whatever.
A roundabout answer.
No rush.
Well, there's absolutely no rush.
Costa's got nowhere to be. Enjoying his time on camera here.
6 mana. Looks like it's time for that Salumgar now. The Drifting Death. Haven't seen a ton of that card recently, or Dragon Lord Salumgar. The Salumgars have been pushed out of the format a little bit, but both of these versions are very powerful.
I think Drifting Death is a very well-positioned card right now with Hangerback Walker all over the place.
Prime for a comeback?
Yeah.
Pretty hard to argue. There's Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Rocco will just pass the turn back. Dig through time here from Costa yet again. He'll delve away the language, doesn't need it. Take a look at the top 7, of course, take 2 with him. And we have seen with Esper Dragons, even though it's been a little while, but we've seen with this deck, when it gets in positions like this, there's almost no coming back.
No, there is not. And this is a deck that feels like it could definitely benefit from the beatdown decks of the format getting a lot slower.
Yep.
Which is a consequence of Hangerback Walker. Very hard to just curve out in the face of that card. It generates too much value. So people are going to these slow trumps. They're playing cards like Tragic Arrogance in their main deck to try to fight this card. And if people are doing stuff like that, Esper Dragons could be poised for a real resurgence.
Seems like a good deck choice for the weekend. It's definitely a deck that a lot of people have forgotten about because it has not seen very much play. I know players are trying to make it so that these blue-based control decks will work. And it looks like Costa, at least for this game, has found a way to do that.
Yep.
Rocco going to take a look at what's been exiled and probably get a good look at the graveyard as well. There's a Quetzalcoatl, and he'll pass the turn back.
Hoping that if he stares at his hand of cards hard enough, they will turn into different cards.
That
is not how that works.
That still has not happened.
Game 1 to Costa.
Esper Dragons up a game here over Abzan Aggro. Matt Costa does win game number 1 over Craig Rocco. Rocco's going to have to go to the drawing board here, and we take a look at what he does have in the sideboard with a Glare of Heresy, 2 Duress, 2 Thoughtseize, a Bile Blight, a Self-Inflicted Wound, and Ultimate Price. Hero's Downfall, Drown in Sorrow, Hunt the Hunter, along with 2 Den Protectors, a Surek the Hunt Caller, and a Reclamation Sage.
I think he needs to settle in for a longer game here. He's got some tools to do that. I think 2 copies of Den Protector, along with his discard spells in Duress and Thoughtseize, those are good here. I don't mind bringing in the 1 copy of Self-Inflicted Wound. I think it's easy to have too many removal spells, but in a matchup like this, where you really need to kill Dragon Lord Ochitai, I think it's okay to do that. He may bring in another copy of Hero's Downfall as well, just have another answer to Dragons, and Planeswalkers that Costa could potentially be boarding in for this kind of matchup as Esper Dragons, occasionally as Planeswalkers on the board.
What do we see on the other side here for Costa?
2 copies of Pharika's Cure, a Bioblight, a Foul Tongue Invocation, 2 Duress, and Ugin the Spirit Dragon, 2 Tassiger the Golden Fang, 2 Ashiok Nightmare Weaver, 2 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, and then a Crow and Horse. That is gas. I like the extra copy of Bioblight and Foul Tongue Invocation in this matchup. I think the 1 copy of Ugin is a very good way of locking out the game. And I'm not a big fan of Tassiger because that's a pretty easy thing for Rocco to kill. There's a variety of removal spells that do it. But I do like Ashiok in this matchup. There's just a lot of very potent 3 mana creatures and 2 mana creatures for Costa to flip over. It's not that hard for Ashiok to generate card advantage and also require a lot of time and effort for Rocco to answer. Worst case scenario is that it trades with a downfall, and the best case scenario is that it runs away with the game.
A fan of the horsey, huh?
I mean, it's sweet that it's here.
It is pretty sweet, actually. A Crown Horse, the flavor on that card's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's a great, I mean, if you're going to do a Greek mythology set, a reference to the Trojan horse.
How can you not?
Yep.
The old 04. Perhaps we see it here. I'd be happy if we did.
I don't
know if it's for the matchup.
I don't. It does not seem great to me in this matchup. I think in pure control matchups, it's very good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll find out if Costa wants to bring it in as he does shuffle up here for game number 2, as does Craig Rocco. They'll be underway in just a moment here. We'll very quickly talk about the Season 4 schedule here on the Open Series. We were in Cincinnati last weekend where Todd Anderson hoisted his 6th Open Series trophy, his 23rd Open Series top 8s, both records here in the Open Series. We'll find out who's going to get the job done in here in Worcester soon enough, and the next weekend we're in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that will close out this particular standard format. We're going to take a week off for the Battle of Zendikar pre-release and then head to Indianapolis for the first Standard Open with that new set, October 3rd and 4th. Atlanta, and then a week off, we go to St. Louis for Legacy, Modern in Dallas, Standard in Philadelphia. After that, Grand Prix Atlanta. More information about that event as we get a little bit closer. A Standard Open in Kansas City, Legacy in New Jersey, Standard in Denver, then the Season 4 Invitational in Las Vegas, Nevada, Standard and Modern as the Invitational formats with a 2-day, $20,000 Standard Open Series event. That is December 11th through the 13th. And then a week after that, Players Championship, Roanoke, Virginia, Star City Games headquarters, December 19th and 20th to close out the year.
Of course, for all the main events here on Season 4 of the Open Series, we do have our fantastic Hoppin' Rabbit Master playmat. You got carrots and bombs and rabbit beatdowns. It's just pretty hard not to love.
And this is free with any entry to a Season 4 Open Series event until the December 5th date, which is the Open in Denver. You get that on-site free with registration, any of the 2-day, $20,000 Open Series events.
Game number 2 between Matt Costa and Craig Rocco going to be underway here in just a moment. Craig Rocco will be on the play, though I do have to correct you on one thing. The Grand Prix Atlanta details, they are up.
Oh,
they
are
good. Available.
Okay.
So go head over to StarCityGames.com. You can find out everything that's happening with Grand Prix Atlanta. A little bit of a commander focus for that Grand Prix. It will be a Battle of Zendikar sealed event, but we've got some crazy things going on that we're giving a try. So if you want more details about that Grand Prix, we'll be going over them a little bit here this weekend. You can also head over to StarCityGames.com as well to find out all the information about what looks to be a pretty great Grand Prix.
Yeah, if you're passionate about Commander, a lot of the Commander community's biggest names, some of the largest members of that community, they will be available. It's going to be panels, discussions. You'll have opportunities to ask them questions.
Sheldon Menery, MJ
Yes.
Scott, Danny West, the Commander versus Series crew. That means Stephen Green.
Stephen Green.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't love Justin Parnell, Jonathan Suarez, and Wes Wise, but Stephen Green, man.
Yeah, someone you have to meet to believe.
And we can't forget about Benny Smith as well.
Yes.
He'll be in attendance too. So we're looking at a great Grand Prix in Atlanta, which will be here sooner than you think, trust me. I know it's in November, but November's almost here.
You and I will be signing the commentator cards that we gave out at Grand Prix Atlanta.
Yeah, a little meet and greet action.
Not that we will not sign those at other events.
No,
just
we won't. Nope.
There will be a specific time and a place to do that at the Grand Prix in Atlanta.
We refuse to sign them elsewhere. Hard and fast rule.
Right. Get that out of my face.
Now, we've been asked, do we think that Mono Red will be a good player if Esper Dragons sees play and there's an uptick in it? And I think that Mono Red is a natural trump to an Esper Dragon style strategy.
Costa is not really gunning for that deck this weekend. 2 copies of Farika's Cure are really the only concession to the matchup. No copies of Drown in Sorrow. Although it's possible with the burn focus of what the red decks look like at the Pro Tour, Farika's Cure may be the better card than Drown in Sorrow. That said, does not look to be like a deck that Costa is specifically preparing for this weekend. Not really on his radar. He is definitely trying to beat other Obzon decks of all sorts.
Yeah. Obzon's the place to be in Standard right now. No doubt about it. Whether you like it or not, Siege Rhino's here to stay. And I guess it's here to stay for another, 9 months as well. But Esper Dragons could be a way to go about beating that deck, and you can tell that Costa has certainly built his deck with that in mind. Obzon aggro or Obzon control.
And Hangerback Walker in particular.
Rocco will take a look at his opening hand, see if he's happy with what he sees. Looks like he is not. Costa looks like he is. Costa, a player we've seen with a lot of Open Series success, making deep runs in just about every tournament that he plays in.
I think he's one of our sharpest technical players.
I think so too, and we definitely saw a best of SCG Live moment with him at our Season 3 Invitational in a match against Andrew Shroud.
I unfortunately did not cover this one. I've only heard the rumors. I didn't get to see it in person.
Rarely do you see someone fight that hard for a draw, but that's exactly what we saw with Matt Costa. Just battling his little heart out to get a draw, but it was a heck of a game to watch. That'll be a best of SCG Live moment in the future, trust me. See if Rocco can find a better 6-card hand here. It looks like he's going down to 5 cards, pardon me. Not a great start here for Craig. Game 1 certainly didn't go his way.
I think these Obzon aggro decks also kind of get in trouble with some of the post-board games here where a curve of creatures is just not going to be good enough to beat a lot of Esper Dragons draws. But if your hands are overly disruptive and don't have any threats, then you're too slow to win the game as well. It's very hard to do the right balance of aggression and disruption. I think that Craig has the right mixture. I think 4 discard spells and a couple Den Protectors is the right way to do it.
Okay.
But it's still hard to draw the right mixture.
Manic Influence is where Craig Rocco is going to start. Costa, he'll scry a Temple of Enlightenment. Top card will go to the bottom. Game number 2 underway here. There is land number 2. It's a forest, but no 2-drop, oddly enough, from the Obzon aggro deck. No Fleecebane line, Death Dealer, even a Warden of the First Tree. So back to Rocco we go after Costa just plays the Polluted Delta. A Plains and a passing of the turn yet again here for Craig Rocco. Well, at least he has lands to operate. That won't be a concern.
The next question is, does he have spells? And then the question after that is, can he get any spell to resolve?
Yep. Siege Rhino the draw. And now he's just stuck. Does have a copy of Self-Inflicted Wound in hand at this point. It looks like his hand might be a little bit too reactive. We'll see as Costa's going to sacrifice Polluted Delta.
So Rocco's mulligan to 5, that's obviously no help here. But Self-Inflicted Wound is part of the problem that I'm discussing. There's spots where that card looks really good. Costa taps out for Dragon Lord Ochitai, you already got a little bit of a board going. You kill the dragon, get some damage, you get to attack, everything's good. But if you draw a Self-Inflicted Wound in the initial stage of the game, that makes it more and more likely that your opening hand doesn't have enough pressure. And if Costa is able to make his land drops, then the Self-Inflicted Wound isn't going to save you at the end of the day. He's going to be able to beat you with a second dragon or just by dig through timing a bunch and beating you with the leftovers. So the Obzon aggro deck gets into awkward spots in this matchup post-board, trying to find that balance between aggression and disruption.
An Urborg here for Craig Rocco. And now I think we'll see our Siege Rhino. It looks like that's going to resolve. So Costa down to 15. Rocco will gain some life. He'll go up to 23, but Costa does have the answer there. With a Foul Tongue Invocation revealing Dragonlord Ochitai. And now we head back Costa's way. It's like Siege Rhino did nothing at all. An island the draw here for Costa. He'll play a Polluted Delta. He can tap that Polluted Delta for mana because there's an Urborg on the battlefield. There is the Dragonlord Ochitai. However, we know that Craig Rocco does have a copy of Self-Inflicted Wound in hand, so shouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah, good that he has the answer.
Yep.
But time is not on his side in this matchup.
There is Self-Inflicted Wound. Bye-bye, Dragonlord Ochitai. And now Warden of the First Tree. So not a bad follow-up.
Yeah, that's a solid turn from Rocco.
Trying to work his way towards a comeback here. Costa picks up a copy of Urborg.
His turn definitely can't just be answer your dragon. It's got to be answer your dragon and make you respond to something.
Yep, and that's what he was able to do. Costa going to very quickly sacrifice Polluted Delta. Perhaps we'll have a dig through time on the way. There's an island. Oh, the horsey.
My apologies.
Yeah, you thought it wasn't going to come in, huh? Ah, the horsey beats. A Crow and Horse, 4 mana, 0/4 defender. Enters the battlefield. Craig, you get this. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent puts a 1/1 white soldier creature token on the battlefield.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
Not the best with Foul Tongue Invocation. That's not ideally how you would draw it.
Not
how you would want to draw it up ideally.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
This is going to make attacking on the ground very, very hard for Rocco.
2 weeks left in the standard format. Got to find out if the horsey's good.
It's at least fun.
Got to find out if the horsey's good.
Yeah, I did not think this was necessarily going to come in here because Rocco will probably have some creature removal in his deck that he's going to be hard-pressed to use. And it's not great with Foul Tongue Invocation, which is one of Costa's better cards in the matchup. But I'm glad this is happening.
And there's a Bile Blight in response to the activation. Able to cast Bile Blight off those 2 copies of Temple Enlightenment thanks to that herb board.
Sneaky.
Yeah, very.
Costa, all the angles. You think tapping that swamp was an accident? No, it's not. Did that on purpose.
What's next here for Matt? I think he's going to go through time. He will take a look at the top 7, take 2 with him.
I'm really excited about this because I have who knows how many Crow and horses.
Oh,
on my
I see
Magic
where
Armor.
this is going. Yep. Now the value goes up.
Yeah.
Now the value goes up.
I mean, if this doubles in value, let's say hypothetically doubles in value.
So up to 20 cents.
Way less than that.
Okay, gotcha.
Up to like 3. That could be literal dimes of equity that I pick up.
Oof. You're a diamondaire.
Yeah. Money poor, but play point rich.
Jeez. It's the follow-up here for Costa. And now he's doing what is called going wide.
Yes.
Here. Making a lot of soldier tokens off the horsey. Perhaps Craig uses the hero's downfall on the horsey instead of the Jace.
There's no good option here.
Yeah. Ross Merriam checking in on the horsey beatdowns. And here's a Siege Rhino. That'll be targeted by a Slumgar Scorn. No reveal necessary, just a painful Force Spike. To Costa, we're going to go with an active Jace now. Looks like he picked up another copy of Slumgar Scorn. All blue cards here in Matt's hand. He's got the Scorn, a Dissolve, and a Dig Through Time. Picked up a copy of Polluted Delta.
What's so great, about this, Rocco mulliganed to 5 and did not have a very fast start, didn't pick up any of his discard spells, so Costa probably wins this game with a lot of his good 7-card hands. This is an especially humiliating way to do it.
Via horse beats.
Yeah.
That's a windswept heath.
What I also like about this, very hard for someone with a horse to get off the table via Dromoka's command. Not very good at fighting. Really hard.
You're right again.
The only creature large enough to kill the horse in combat is Dragonlord Ojutai.
Can't target it.
So
yeah.
That's just really great deck building. Really great deck building.
The full lock. Costa in the proverbial driver's seat right now. I think I'm going to play another Siege Rhino.
I think it's called the jockey's seat.
I was definitely, yeah. I've never hated you as much as I hate you right now.
Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of horse puns lined up here. It just depends how much longer this game goes on for.
Oh. In theory, we can make it go as long as we want.
Yeah, it's true.
See if this Siege Rhino is going to resolve. Matt will give it some thought. He does have a Dissolve in hand.
And I think Costa is trying to determine if this Siege Rhino is really worth a counterspell at this point. It sort of is, but Costa's also building up a board here that's going to be able to block the Siege Rhino, and Costa may feel like his counterspells just need to be held for things like Ajani or other Planeswalkers.
Looks like he's going to let the Rhino resolve.
The Rhino is right on the fence of being able to good enough to counter, but if it's Rocco's entire turn, Costa can dig, probably find an answer for it, and then save the counter spells for things that really matter.
He can dig, find a Hero's Downfall, which was the first card he found.
But not the Foul Tongue Invocation.
That's not an option.
We've established that. That card does not play well with a Crow and Horse.
Off the table.
Off the stable.
No. No. Please. No more. I am begging you.
I grew up around horses. Did you know that?
I did. I did. Here's Dragonlord Ojutai. I did not. I did not grow up around horses.
It didn't stick, but I did grow up around them.
Okay. It's bringing back old memories here, the Acron horse.
Getting thrown off, having a horse just take off.
Well, you can't control them.
Almost getting kicked.
Yeah. I think horses are probably friendly animals.
I think that my understanding is if you give off nervous energy, they can sense that.
Oh, okay.
And 7-year-old me was definitely giving off some really nervous energy.
A little nervous around the old horsey.
Yeah.
Craig Rocco with a Siege Rhino here. 6 lands. Unfortunately for him, a mulligan to 5 this game. Costa really starting to pull away here. Costa with those 4 soldier tokens out there from the Acroan horse. An active Jace with 3 cards in the graveyard and a freshly cast Dragonlord Ochitai.
Yeah, he's really grabbed the reins of this game. You don't understand. I can do that. I can do this. I can do this forever. You better hope Costa wins this 2-0 real fast, because I have so many horse puns.
I'll take this headset off. I'll take it right off.
If it goes down to a one-person booth, it's going to be nothing but horse puns.
I'll take it right off.
You're the only one standing in between this broadcast and the abyss. You got to stay in this.
Here's an Anafenza the Foremost. Looks like Jace will be activated. Foul Tongue Invocation was the draw. Good discard.
Yeah, I like that one.
Good discard by Matt. Slumgar's Scorn will take care of the Anafenza, or at least attempt to. There is a dragon on the battlefield, so Matt has no need to reveal. Oh, what a surprise. Twitter chiming in now with horse puns. What a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes. More like chomping at the bit, Blossom.
Really good?
No, it's not.
No, not Bitter Blossom. That's bad. Just chomping at the bit.
Yep. I'm supposed to tell you to quit horsing around.
But then you're just playing into
your ruse, as it were. The follow-up here for Craig is a Hero's Downfall to take care of Jace. Costa will untap. He'll take a draw step. Here come the beatdowns. Crone Horse will get a block in. Costa will trigger his Dragonlord Ochitai. It's like 3 lands, I believe, there from Matt. He'll take one of them. The rest will go to the bottom of the deck.
Dissolve plus Downfall.
Great spot to be for these blue-black control decks. Costa, I believe, keeping on top there with the Temple of Enlightenment. A soldier token being made from the Acroan horse. And Rocco will take a draw.
I mean, we've been, of course, having our fun with this, but Acroan horse has been really good this game.
It has actually been really good.
I mean, imagine Rocco has Death Dealers and Fleecemane Lions. They just don't matter at this point.
Hero's Downfall will take care of the Rhino. And the follow-up here is a Thoughtseize. Costa will dissolve this because it's the only card that matters in his hand for the most part. Though he does have a Slumgar over there, so I do take that back. Does Rocco have a follow-up? It appears he may. Keep in mind, Costa to keep on top of the Scry from the Dissolve. There's a Herald of Torment, a flyer, something that actually gets around the soldier tokens that have been made from the Acroan horse. Costa will untap all those permanents, take a draw.
That was a missed opportunity for Rocco to bestow for comedic effect.
That's definitely true. Have some blockers here. Costa's going to lose a soldier token from the Herald of Torment block. And he'll get to anticipate once again thanks to the Dragonlord Ochitai trigger. Dig Through Time in there. I believe with Slumgar Scorn as well. But Slumgar Scorn is kind of the hard lock on this game if you think about it, because here comes Dragonlord Slumgar.
Yep.
Craig will sacrifice that fetch land, go down to 7.
Herald puts him to 6. I don't think he can beat the counter spell.
Apparently, Patrick. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, some more coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So I can't look at my phone during the round anymore because I dropped it in the bathroom a few weeks ago, and all the sounds came on, and I can't shut them off. So
nice.
if people, text me or whatever, so I can't see these live anymore. I have to see them in between the rounds. But Cedric here, he gets to see them as they occur.
I do. So apparently there's no reason to beat a dead horse, Patrick. That counts, I think, for a horse pun. If Craig bestowed the horse, would it transform into a crone Pegasus? Is actually a very valid question.
Try it on Magic Online.
Yeah.
maybe that's how that works.
And it looks like they are both, oh boy, they are just jockeying for position.
Pretty good. I like that one.
With Costa establishing a
I
furlong of a lead.
No, that's great. Yeah. The jockey pun, not great because I already made that one. You were second to market. But that other one, that's really good.
Patrick approves of horse puns. Craig with a fresh draw step here. I'm not sure he's got a way out of this situation. He is doing quite a bit of math here. But I think if Harold Tournament comes to the red zone, Costa's probably going to block pretty quickly. And with Costa having a copy of Slemgar's scorn in hand, I don't think there's a way out of this for him.
Well, he's dead on board. So he has to draw something relevant. And Costa has a counterspell. So that's going to be, this is all very hard.
Yes. Here's 3 mana. It's an Abzan charm. Looks like Craig is going to draw 2 cards. Maybe try to find a little bit more help. Down to 4 he goes. There's a Sansep Citadel. Also have to pass the turn back. Costa will untap all these lands, all these soldier tokens from the Akroan Horse and his Dragonlord Ojutai. Draw a card very quickly. Hero's Downfall will take care of the Herald Torment. Everybody's going to come in the red zone. Matt Costa going to win this match here over Craig Rocco. 2-0. Esper Dragons will take care of Abzan aggro. For Costa, he's up to 2-0. But more importantly, the horse puns will cease. Thank goodness.
For now. I mean, very likely we have him back in the feature match area. And at that point, all bets are off.
In which case, I will find Costa's Akroan Horse and rip it up.